those moments when you're just doing you're chilling, you're just cruising along, and someone says or does something, and instantly your heart starts racing, tension starts building, you get a knot in your stomach, or your throat closes up, and then you go to thinking. All right, stop right there. Actually, stop the moment before you go to thinking. That moment right there is what we're going to talk about today. It's such an important moment. The moment between when you feel all that stuff in your body and you go to the head, the mind jumps in. Maybe it's true for you too, but my default right there is to go to the head, to let the brain jump in and start thinking about all the reasons why my body feels that way. Sometimes I'm not even conscious of what the thinking is about. That the thinking is actually reasoning about and trying to explain why my body feels what it's feeling. Because so often it's just instantly, they did this, or this is happening and I don't like it, or they said this and I'm defensive, or I didn't like it, or whatever. But it's the brain jumping in and trying to reason and explain and make sense of why our body feels the feelings it's feeling. Because those feelings, the heart racing, the tension building, the closed off throat, the knot in the stomach, that's our nervous system responding to the external, whatever's happening, the situation. And our nervous system, the response happens in our body first. And our brain jumps in to reason with it, because I've talked about it in the last couple of episodes, but when we get those feelings, the heart racing, the closed off throat, the tension building, that's all energy in our body. And it's building and it's building and it's building. And that's when either we maybe break down and cry, we want to leave the situation, we explode, we just shut down and tense up. And so our brain comes in trying to get rid of those feelings, to get rid of that energy, to release that energy. And sometimes because we go so quick from the feelings in the body to the brain coming in and reasoning and trying to make sense of it, we miss those feelings in our body, because it's easy to just jump to, they did this, this happened, and I don't like it. And that's why all this is going on in my body. But it's sometimes our brain gets a little out of control. It overreacts. I first learned about this whole body feeling versus my brain trying to explain what's going on and reasoning with what's going on in a therapy session. I don't know what the conversation was about, what I was explaining, but it was a situation where I was explaining it, and my therapist kept saying, all right, stop. What did you feel in your body? Feel it in your body. Where is it sitting? And she would have me close my eyes, and so I would do it, and I'd be, it's in my gut. I can feel just knot in my gut and in my throat. And she's like, okay, just sit with it. This happened a few sessions. And finally I was like, I need to know what you're doing. I don't understand what this is all about. Like, why do you keep having me close my eyes and telling me to sit with it? I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing here. And so she explained it. She goes, you want to explain everything. You want to explain what's going on in your brain wants to explain how your body feels. But the problem is our body and our brain are separate. And the brain jumps in and wants to rationalize what's going on in the body with what the situation is. But those feelings in our body are our nervous system responding, and they just have to respond. Our body has to do its thing. My body just has to has to handle it, has to work through it, the feelings on its own. And when we interrupt it with the brain jumping in, the body doesn't get a chance to finish out its process. And so then I was able to sit with it and just, okay, just feel the feeling. It's 90 seconds that our body, a sensation will feel when we just feel it in our body without the explanation and the logic and the rationalization of our brain. I'm learning and I'm continuing to practice letting my body feel safe before letting my brain jump in to make a choice. Because reasoning and thinking and explaining and logic isn't the problem. It's the timing. It can't come first. We have to let our body do its part. When our body's alarm system turns on, it needs time to turn off, to calm it again, to feel safe. And it wants to be acknowledged. It wants to be seen. It wants to be noticed. And it wants to be sat with. It's that connecting with the friend within. That friend within is your body, your nervous system, your friend within. When we immediately jump in with reasoning and thinking, we're trying to jump from body to brain without letting the body do its thing. And it's kind of like if you've ever been telling a story and it means something to you and you're telling it and you get interrupted and you're not able to finish. It's hard. You're hurt. You feel like you weren't heard. You're interrupted. You're disrespected. And that story didn't go away. Your feelings aren't just like, oh, well, it's still there. And that's kind of the same thing is, yeah, we can start going to reasoning and thinking through everything and making sense of the feelings and the situation. But our body's still tense. Our body still has that emotion in it. And that actually is fueling the thinking because the body's still there. It hasn't calmed. And so the brain needs to keep making sense of it and logic and reasoning with it. That's why even if you understand reactions versus responding or outbursts and shutting down and you may feel like it's still not working, and that's because often we're jumping from the feelings in our body where the nervous system shows up to our brain too soon and not letting the body finish out its process without involving the brain. Leave the brain out of it for a little bit and just sit with and be with your body and let it do its thing before bringing in the thinking part. I found that once I can do that, once I sit with my body, let everything go through it, let my body go through its process, let the nervous system handle its alarm systems, move the energy, calm everything down, feel safe again, then I can bring in the brain and thinking and understanding. And it makes it so my brain works better. It can actually look at the situation from different angles, look at different options, look at different perspectives, see the whole picture instead of narrowed and blaming or just very, they did this and that's why I feel the way I do. And when we give it that proper space, it can see the whole view. It has a step back view and is able to look at all the options, look at all the angles, look at all the possibilities. And it's a cleaner process of understanding the situation or what's happening, what's going on. And unfortunately, though I wish it was always, I catch it in my body, I'm able to sit with just the body, leave the brain out of it, and let it all calm. And then the brain comes in and it understands the situation perfectly. But that's not reality. That is not reality. But it doesn't mean you're screwed if you get to thinking and then you catch yourself. I do it all the time. I catch myself and I'm thinking and I'm like, God, I'm really worked up, or I find myself blaming or making up a story in my head. And then I pause and, okay, what's going on here? Hold on. And then I go to the body and where do I feel this? And I slow down and let my body do its thing, and then I can go back to the brain. It's interesting to see that difference in such a sudden shift of just that ability to go into my body, connect with my body, and feel the energy in there and just sit with it and let it do its thing before responding or reacting. And that's what happens when we do that, when we sit with our body, let it do its thing, and then we go to the brain and let it work its stuff and think. That's the difference between reaction versus responding. When we jump to the brain before we've let our body work through its stuff, that's where reactions come from. It's the explosions, it's the shutdowns, it's the defense. And that's because we have all this energy and we haven't let the body do its thing yet. We haven't let the body settle down or feel safe. And so the brain's saying, we're in danger, we're in danger, we're in danger. And it does whatever it does to try to feel safe. Might not be the best thing that we do to feel safe, but it's what we've learned through our experiences. So when we can just sit with the body and recognize it and acknowledge it and be like, all right, body, finish your part, and then go to the head. It changes. There's a big shift there. And so that's what I'm continuing to try to practice, is just ideally catching myself. Trying to stay connected to my body is the main part of it, and it's really hard, but catching myself when I start feeling that tension build, or my throat closing up, or the knot in my stomach, or feeling sweaty, or just the tension building is a big one for me in my throat. When I feel that, slowing down, recognizing it, taking a deep breath, actually shifting my body, kind of moving, and literally telling myself when I start feeling going into my brain, saying, okay, I know my brain's ready right now, but my body's not. Let me work with my body right now first. And then take a deep breath, soften the jaw, relax the shoulders, and then connect to the friend within, connect to my body, find where that tension's at. Find where you feel it. Where is the energy at in your body? It might be in your hands. They might feel tingly. Or in your head, or you feel sweaty. Or in your stomach. It might be a knot. Or you just feel the tension building. Or your heart starts racing. And just sit with that. Breathe into it. I know that might sound woo-woo, but it's real. Our body is part of us. There's nerves going through our body everywhere, and we hold that. And that's where our nervous system responds first, is in the body. And so if we can just connect with it, sit with it for 1 minute, 90 seconds, sit with it and notice it kind of melt away. Let it calm. Just recognize it, acknowledge it, be aware of it, and then let your brain come in and notice the difference. You're able to choose how you want to respond next, or what the next thing you want to do. It's clearer. You have more space to actually think of what's going on instead of just, right? You just have more space to see it, see what's going on, make sense of it, and figure out how you want to respond versus just immediately reacting on the body feelings. I know it can be easy to miss, but try to catch that just split second between the tension in the body and it going into the thoughts. And even if it goes into the thoughts, when you catch that, go back to your body. Just pause and say, okay, let me let the body do its thing first. Let me be with my body for a moment. Let me connect. Try it, guys. Try it and let me know what you think. And until next time, keep looking forward.